Hey, welcome everybody to Pro Mindset Podcast. This is your host, Craig Dillman. We have a former NFL athlete and a successful business coach, entrepreneur, keynote speaker, author on our show today. His name is Marques Ogden. Marques, welcome to Pro Mindset.
How you doing, Craig? Thanks for having me on, my friend.
All right, my man. We're going to get rocking real quick here. You were an NFL guy, so share with everybody your like when you meet somebody, how big are you? I know you're a big man.
Yeah, I'm 6'5.5", 275 pounds.
Okay. So when people see you at the grocery store, people see you at the airport, people sit by you in an airplane, they go, hey man, what sport you play? Who'd you play for?
Of course.
So what do you tell them?
I say I played at Howard University, and I say that I played in the National Football League. I was drafted by the Jacksonville Jaguars, played for the Baltimore Ravens, Buffalo Bills, and I finished off my career with the Tennessee Titans. So it's always a nice way to kind of get people to understand, what I'm about, who I am, and then what I've done in my career. Well, the early part of my life, I said my early career that I did in the National Football League.
Okay, so everybody that plays in the NFL has a different experience. Yes, they all get to wear uniforms. They all get to get paid. They all get to hang out in the locker room. They all go through training camps. They all develop some friendships. They all go through some adversity. They all have the heat of the training camp trying to make the 53. They all have that going on. What is your 2 or 3 takeaways that either the wisdom you gained while you were in the league that is paying dividends today?
3 things. Love this. Number 1, from Jack Del Rio, be your own CEO. Be your own chief executive officer. Don't wait for other people to do what you can do. For example, I just got an email from my accounting office saying we need W-9s from people by the 10th of December. I said I could give this to my external manager, have her do it, but I won't talk to her till Monday. It could be, it could take a little bit more time. I said I can do this myself. I'm waiting to be on your awesome podcast. I created a little email that I sent out to everybody on the list. I then texted it out, emailed it out. I told my accounting office, I've done it. As soon as I get them in, I'll forward them over to you. Bam, done. So be your own CEO. Like I remember from Jack telling us, don't wait for people to do what you can do. And the second thing I learned, you can either make excuses or you can get results. You can't have both. Jack told us when I was a rookie, you can either make the Jacksonville Jaguars, gentlemen, or you can make excuses. You can't have both. And I learned that, and that's really helped me in my career today as a speaker, coach, consultant. And the third thing I learned from football is the power of teamwork. As a former offensive lineman, right, Craig? It is 5, sometimes 6 guys, tight end included, working together to protect the quarterback, the running back, and the guys on offense. If you don't do your job, somebody can get hurt. And that's like, I treat that in business when I don't show up for my clients or I don't show up for a podcast. People can get hurt. Maybe not in the physical sense, but they can hurt their day or hurt their brand or not come across as we really care about them. So those things I learned in the National Football League have paid huge dividends today in my work as a speaker, coach, consultant, brand ambassador, and of course, also a podcast host as well.
Okay. I was just thinking on a football field, what is everybody looking at?
Everybody's looking at each other. I mean, you're looking to your teammate to push you through in challenging times. And I tell people what breaks down people's mindsets. Challenges, extremely hard challenges. And the way to get over that, right, Craig, is break them down into small, actionable steps.
Well, here's where I was going with this, Marques. There's no wrong answer. Everybody's looking at the ball. There's only 5 guys on a football field at any given time that are not looking at the ball. Every defensive player can see the ball. Mm-hmm. Every offensive player, once the ball's snapped, the offensive linemen are the only 5 guys on the field that can't see the ball. So the one thing that's unique about offensive linemen is they have to do their job without getting the attention that you get when you have the ball in your hands.
Correct.
In fact, the only time you get attention is when you don't do your job.
Correct.
And the only time the coaches yell at you is when you don't do your job.
Correct.
right? So the offensive linemen are the bread and butter of an offense, but they don't get the recognition and they don't get the glory. They're the ones that they call it in the trenches for a reason, because you're in the trenches. And so I was just talking to a former NFL offensive line coach last night, who's a dear friend of mine, and we were talking about the challenges of coaches and how difficult it is to, like as a coach, to build up your players. And he was talking about, he's an former 27-year offensive line coach. And it's like, he's like, guys, once you get to the league, you start getting paid, you get drafted, you get these privileges. You want a little bit of sunshine, but as an offensive lineman, you don't get it. Right?
That's right. I mean, it's a thankless job. I was just talking to a client, well, a potential client that's now going to become a client. It was a sales call with this organization. And the guy loved what I was talking about. I said, Tony, as a former offensive lineman, I have no ego. I put my hard hat on. It is a thankless job. So now that you see I can be part of the team, I'm going to be so easy to work with. Agree to a fee, great. This fee, great. Do your job, show up, great. It's all about doing what you say you're going to do when you say you're going to do it. And being offensive lineman, if you don't have that mentality, you won't have a job. Because at the end of the day, it's not a wide receiver prima donna position, running back scoring touchdown, quarterback throwing the football, all those type of things. It is get your body beat up to keep other guys upright and keep them standing so they can do their job to score the touchdown. Without you protecting your area and your people, the offense doesn't move.
Amen. Okay, so Marques, podcast, you do all these things. What is your message today to businesses, to your listeners, to your audience, that you can take what you learned in the NFL, and maybe there's different vibrations and iterations of your message, that in 2024, this is your message. What's your message today?
Our message is to help people succeed in life where we failed, so they cannot make, or hopefully don't make, the same mistakes that I did in my construction company, with my ego when I got a massive ego and lost it all in my business. I got so inflated, right, Tony? Right, Craig, around things that don't matter, right? Money, fame. I literally lost sight of the attributes that who I am. I lost sight of discipline. I lost sight of perseverance. I lost sight of grit. And because I lost sight of those things, I got blinded by money and fame. It cost me everything. So our mission today is to help people succeed in life where we failed by sharing our true, authentic story, the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Okay, so being authentic is critical, but let me ask you something. Every hero seems to have a valid. I mean, they're a hero for a reason. Sometimes they've overcome and bounced back. How can people? What are the markers for people to recognize that they're slipping into that situation? Like when your ego was front and center, and you lost it all. Along the way, what were the markers that you can help people see so that they can pump the brakes and not hit the bottom?
The number one thing I can tell people is when you stop listening to people, especially your trusted team, when you lose sight of psychologically having a safe environment for your people to express themselves without fear of being judged or being ridiculed, if you are not doing that, Craig, you are destined to fail. That's what happened to me. One of my trusted team members, my estimator, Colin, tried to warn me in the summer of 2012 that we were heading for disaster. And as a result of this, right, Craig, he talked, I heard him, but I didn't really listen to him. It went in one ear, out the other. And because of that, I didn't really listen to him. I took him for granted. I said, oh, Colin, don't worry about that. We got this line of credit. We're this. We're going to be fine. Come back on Monday. Let's get back to work. Don't worry about it. He came in that following Monday. He handed me his 2-week resignation papers. Like he said, within 6 months, Craig, we were done. We were finished. Our doors closed because we were robbing Peter to pay Paul. A job we were doing was sucking up all our cash. And then I had such a huge ego that I said, well, they're going to take care of us. They're going to pay us back. And there was nothing signed for them to do that. And because of that, right, Craig, I said, well, we're the minority contractor. And it didn't mean a daggone thing. And next thing you know, Collins lost another job. And then within 6 months, I'm bankrupt, broke, almost homeless, home foreclosed on, had to leave Baltimore like a thief in the night. And I left Baltimore and I moved to Raleigh, North Carolina with $400 to my name, didn't know anybody, didn't have any resources, didn't have anybody I could lean on, but I lost everything. So if you're listening to this awesome podcast, if you are not listening to your team, you are heading towards doom. So get a hold of it now.
Call it your pit crew. Your pit crew are the people that you trust, that you seek counsel from in a variety of different places in your life. And so if you don't listen to your trusted advisors, I mean, honestly, why do you have them?
Correct. And that I was wasting payroll, Craig. And today in our company, our team can tell me absolutely anything. Like I said, when I got that from my accountant, right? Marcus said, well, no, you're not going to send this off to Jaslyn. She's got other things to take care of. You're going to do it. You're going to text people, email people, hey, give me your W-9. I need it by this date. Boom. Like, that's a job for you to do, right? So that's also part of it. Being a leader doesn't mean you can always delegate everything. Delegate what you know you can't do or shouldn't do. Again, but I could do that task, right, Craig? I could send those information, those emails out to people. And so I did. And now here we are on the podcast. It's done. Now it's just waiting for people to get it back to me. And this is as a leader leaning on, again, your attributes, what you know you should do. And discipline is one of the biggest attributes. Either you have it or you don't. And I can't coach anybody to do what they need to do. I can tell you what you should do, but I can't make you physically get up, go to the gym and work out. I can't make you do what has to be done to grow your business. I can't do that. I tell you what to do, but you gotta have it inside to do it for yourself.
Okay, think back to that time when you're bopping down 5, heading down to Raleigh, and you're in the start over mode. Do over, don't want to do the same thing I did. A lot of things pinging in your mind about how you want to be different. You want to show up different. You don't want what happened to happen. You don't want to be insane and do the same thing again. What is the best first step a person can do if they're listening and they're in a situation where they just hit rock bottom?
First thing you need to do, figure out what type of craft you can do that you know you have that fire to do, but you also have the talent to do. And that's what I didn't do. I worked different jobs to survive, which was fine, right? Everybody gets into survival mode. I get it. But when I found speaking and I got into it, you know why I stunk in the beginning? I knew inside of me, right, attributes-wise, if I could just get through the sleepless nights, the dark days, the long days, it would work out. And that's what I did. So if you're listening to this podcast, figure out what is your talent or your craft and perfect that. Then from there, from what you know what you want to do, what you're good at, step 2, get to your network and tell them what you are doing. So right now for us, right, Craig, we're getting so much positive traction in the insurance industry. I spoke at a job in Vegas in October. We did phenomenal. And now I'm going to another job in Georgia, doing one in Memphis. Had a call the guy yesterday. I've been doing a job in January for him in Orlando. Another guy was on these big national boards of the Big I, which is one of the largest associations for insurance, PIA, like all these things, right? But again, I have a lot of trusted people in my network, right, Craig, that are in insurance, either owners, were owners, big shots on boards, whatever, right, Craig? So I'm leaning on them, and how I help them, I refer them to people in my network. So it's all about leaning on your network. Once you know what you want to do, then after that, step 3, take the action and get in the game. Get on the field. You cannot win by standing on the sidelines. Can't win. You got to get around. Your podcast, and so am I. Saying, I want to have a podcast. I'm going to do a podcast. That's not doing it. You got to say, I want to do a podcast. I'm going to start working here. I'm going to find some guests. Let's get in the game. Don't wait. So again, what's your craft? Talk to your inner circle, your network. Take action.
Okay, let's talk about taking action. I'm lost. I'm in that place where I just hit rock bottom. I know what my passion is. I know what my talents are. I do have a network. I'm ready to take action. I don't know where to start. Where do I start?
Start by making the phone call to your network. Pick up the phone and call somebody. That's how we got into speaking on a larger scale, right, Craig? I started speaking September 2013. Told my network, because I trained a lot of young athletes in football. They were high school student athletes. I told all their parents, if you know anybody looking for a speaker, just please, I'm doing it for free. I'm trying to get some exposure. Please just let me know. My first ever client, Dave Niskus, got coached his boys, Alex and Aiden. Alex is now married. Aiden just got engaged about a month ago. So excited for them both. They were my first ever one-on-one clients. Dave Nisbisky gave me my first ever non-paid Fortune 500 speaking opportunity with NetApp. If I would have never told Dave what I wanted to do and took action, he would have never known I had more ambition outside just coaching his sons or coaching student athletes. If you don't pick up the phone, if you don't call people, then what happens is they have no idea. If they don't know, they can't help you.
Amen. Amen. So pick up that phone and call somebody.
Amen. Get it. If they don't know, they can't help. It's like if you don't market your business, can anybody hire you? Right? How can anybody hire you if they don't know you exist? It's not possible.
Okay, so this is about pro mindset, my podcast is pro mindset. Yours is about mindset. There's a lot of different flavors of mindset. What is Marques Ogden's flavor of mindset? What do you how do you coach people on mindset?
I coach people to understand mindset is training your mind. Again, training your mind to believe what your heart knows is achievable. It's like in business, right, Craig? You have to have emotion block. You have to have logic block. You can't have a business that's logical with no emotion. You can't have a business that's all full of emotion but no logic. It won't work. And so what happens is you have to train your mind to believe what you know in your heart is achievable. And then at that point, you have to have attributes over skill sets. Attributes are what we are born with. Discipline, grit, tenacity, adaptability. Skills are what we are taught. Again, skills are what we are taught. But attributes like grit, tenacity, adaptability, determination are critical for long-term success. If you have great skills, but you are not strong attribute-wise, you will at some point burn out, which is exactly how I lost my construction company. When my skills diminished, my attributes were already checked out because I didn't want to be there. So as soon as my skills came down, my attributes, right, Craig, to do were already down here. So as soon as I hit adversity, lost my people, right, lost all my money, right, what did I do? I folded. Speaking, I always believed I could do this. First 2.5 years, right, Craig, not one paid job. Not one. got my first paid job. I said, I can do this. And then it started to come slowly, the logic. And now we have systems and we have people and we've got capital and we've got programs, but it didn't come overnight. So again, for mindset, your attributes, your inner strength has to be greater than the external job you do on the outside.
Did you know any of this stuff when you were playing football?
Absolutely not.
Okay. So let's go back to college, going into the NFL with the Jacksonville Jaguars. If you would have known what you know today, we don't have a crystal ball, but we can at least theorize on what it might have looked like. How different would your NFL experience have been and why?
So much different. Because after my rookie year, I hit a wall where I felt my O-line coach was not liking me. And instead of going and talking to him like a man, sitting down and working through it, I chose the easy way out and I asked to be traded to Baltimore and I got my wish. Unfortunately, when I got to Baltimore, things were good. The line coach left who loved me. And then new coaches came in. Then I had to go to Buffalo and start that whole thing of going to different teams because every time I was on a team, the coach that loved me was not there the next year. So I got caught in a lot of the coaching recycle. And if I just would have said to my O-line coach, Paul Boudreaux, who was my rookie O-line coach, and I told him that when I saw him at the Combine 2016, I apologized to him for not coming to him and saying, Coach, I wish I would have done this, this, and this, and just talk to you about what I should have done better. And I didn't have the mindset to do that because I was so used to getting my way in college. I had never faced adversity like that in football. And so instead of getting in and digging into my attributes and saying, I'm going to be disciplined, I'm going to work harder, I'm going to really figure this out, I said, this isn't working, man. Let's just get out of here. And I just went off to Baltimore. But that would have been great if I would have had the same coaches. But then the next year, new coaches came in. So I get shipped out. Go to Buffalo. Love it. Great. Awesome. Losing season. Coach gets fired. New coaches come in. It goes again. Got to Tennessee. I was doing great, but my dad passed away and I wasn't the same player. So if I would have just been a man and said, Coach Boudreaux, what could I have done better to serve you and give more playing time? And I did as a rookie, but how could I have done better? If I'd have had that mentality, right, Craig, my whole career would have been so much different.
I agree. And one thing I can tell you is that there is a strong need by players to want to be liked by their coaches. And the coaches, they love their players, but if you don't perform at a level that they need you to perform, they just tell the front office, hey, we need a new guy. Right. And so you guys are, as a player, you're always expendable.
Always.
Okay, that's why 50% of first rounders get cut within a couple of years because they don't perform up to expectations, and they thought it was just going to happen sometimes, and then next thing you know, they're on to team number 2 and 3 and 4 or out of the league. One of the things I think is really important for mindset is that, even with yours, it's about your inner strength and it's about your skills. So you got to develop both. If you can strengthen and develop your intangibles, whether it's willpower, persistence, grit, all those things, you're going to show up differently. And if you improve your skills, whatever you do, a volleyball player, you're a banker, it doesn't matter. You will show up differently. But here's where it gets corrupted. It's when your circumstances don't align with your vision.
Uh-huh.
And when you show up in the locker room as an athlete and they call the ones and you don't get to go out. Maybe they'll call it twos. Second team, and you don't get to go out. All of a sudden, those guys typically start thinking about how can I get out instead of how can I improve all the aspects of my game and my person so that it can beat them out. And in representing NFL guys for 33 years, I've seen this. What you did is very normal. You were not abnormal. You were just a normal guy. And when things aren't going the way you were hoping they'd go, you just kind of like, I got to go. And then your agent's like, bro, man, they're not loving you, man. They're not respecting you. They're not giving you an opportunity. You're not getting reps. It's not a fair competition. We got to move on. When in fact, that's when you got to pump the brakes and say, maybe I need to look in the mirror and figure out how I can show up differently so the coach looks at me differently.
That's 100% correct. And I really wish I would have taken that approach as a 23-year-old second-year veteran who was doing well, but didn't hit full stride because I got my own way.
Okay, so you were in Jacksonville what year? 2022, 2023?
2003, 2004.
That's what I meant. 2003, not 2023.
Yeah, 2003, 2004.
When were you in Baltimore?
2004 to 2006.
Gotcha. One of my clients came into Baltimore, I think in 2005, Chris Chester from Oklahoma.
Oh, yeah, of course. Offensive lineman. Yep.
Offensive lineman. He was, I think, a second rounder.
Yep.
So it's like I'm very familiar with what was going on with Coach Harbaugh back in the day. You know, Ray was the guy. I mean, you had some tremendous personalities on that team.
Yep.
Unfortunately, most of them were on defense.
And my brother was on offense, and my brother, Jamal Lewis, and then we had Todd Sheep. And yeah, on defense was Ed, was Ray Lewis, was Micah Kimolatu, Terrell Suggs. We had some really good dogs on defense.
So your brother was Jonathan?
Correct.
Okay, yeah, he was a monster. He was like 6'8", big
6'9",
dude.
6'9", 375. Yep.
It was like a defensive end had to go around the city block to find the quarterback.
They did not bowl well.
Who was he drafted with? Was he drafted
Ravens, Baltimore?
No. But there was two guys in his draft class that had gone to the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Who was the other one?
Ray Lewis.
It was Ray. So he and Ray were drafted in the same draft.
Yep. And they both were deemed horrible picks by the media. We don't need a left tackle. We don't need an undersized linebacker that has no sideline to sideline speed.
Yeah. So Ozzie Newsome was tremendous at picking talent and
the best.
One of the best ever. So, okay, getting back to you. So when you're out on the speaker trail, there's two ways to look at a keynote. One is your message, and two is your impact. What is the impact that you desire? What's the takeaway you desire for the people, for the butts in the seats that are listening to you communicate? What are you giving them that they can take with them after you fly home?
Action steps, mindset, how to be better by focusing, locking in, attacking. Leadership, how to be a better leader by being innovative, relating to people, making sense of things, being a visionary. Culture, how to build the right team through psychologically safe environments and inclusivity. Diversity, equity, inclusion, how to have a organization where people aren't just talking the talk, but they're walking the walk. Mel Robbins, who was my mentor, I met her in 2018, one of the most successful keynote speakers, taught me how to be an inspirational keynote speaker, tell a story with action steps. Once I learned that, Craig, that's why I like to read, listen to audiobooks, take content away, put it into our talks, listen to different experts like Jack Canfield and Tony Robbins, Patrick David, listen to his book right now, Choose Your Enemies Wisely. That's where I got the whole emotion block and logic blocks of business, making all these things go into your story with your flavor and putting in things that give the audience steps to walk away with.
Okay. I am sure you've got a framework that you use to, you tailor your message to the people you talk to, but you've got this framework that is your culture, your fundamental process. What are like the 3 action steps that people that are listening to this podcast can go, man, that applies to me? What are those 3 things?
So step 1 is that you have to believe in yourself. That's number 1, right? Your heart and your mind have to align. Okay? That's number 1. Number 2, You have to speak good about yourself, right? The election happened yesterday. Our new president, Donald Trump, whether you like him or not, that's how it is. But don't sit there and say, oh, my life's over because he's in the Oval Office or da-da-da-da, right? You need to speak good to yourself. Well, we have a new president. Okay, how can I do more? I deserve happiness. I deserve success. The biggest culprit of most people is themselves. So speak good to yourself, okay? And number 3, any and all circumstances, focus, lock in, attack. When it comes to what you want in life, you got to focus on what you want. Once you understand what you want, you have to lock in on your target. And once you do, attack and take action. It's everything. It is vital. So those are 3 things. So have your heart and your mind aligned, okay? That's huge. Make sure that you're constantly speaking good about yourself. And 3, when you know what you want in life, focus on it, lock in on it, and then attack. Don't sit around and don't wait.
I'm ready to go.
And that's how I live my life. And that's what I'm all about. Like and that's how I tell audience, like, these are things you can take away, practical, but at the same time, some things that you only think about high level that you can apply with simplicity in your everyday life.
No, that's great. That's great. What is one of the things that you do that you're mindful about when you go on stage? So you were a performer when you were an athlete, when you were an NFL player, but you're also a performer when you're on stage. You're also a performer when you're hosting your own podcast. You're also a performer when you're on a sales discovery call with a potential client, whether it's for coaching or speaking or whatever it might be. How do you put your game face on? How do you get ready so that you can be your best when it matters the most?
I remember why and where I started. I started at the bottom. I started when I had a dream of becoming a speaker, right? I had a dream with no plan. I wanted to become a speaker. I was sitting on that curb crying my eyes out in September 2013. For me, why me, poor me. And that gets me fired up and ready to go. Moving forward, Patrick Bet-David's book is called Choose Your Enemy Wisely. And my enemy is Marques Ogden of 2013. It was so arrogant that lost everything. So I get myself fired up by remembering where I started, how I got to the bottom, and that I never ever want to go back there by not delivering a high value product every time I step on stage. You're only as good as your last speech as a speaker. That's it. And so I spoke in Vegas. It went so well. The doors have been opening. I went to Vegas and I bombed it. These doors that I have between doing something in Georgia to the Big I, to the National PIA, to all these people maybe going to Orlando, doing something in Memphis, all these other doors would never, ever open. They would just stay shut. So I always remember why I do what I do, where I started, and how I got to the bottom when I had to get myself off that curb, dust myself off, and get back in the game of life.
How do you handle it when you're in the middle of a speech? And if you're normal, which you seem pretty normal to me, you have a random thought. Like maybe something like, hey, I'm not doing great. This might not be good enough. The audience is not responding the way I was hoping they respond. Too many people are looking at their phones. Too many people are distracted. You care too much what the audience thinks in the first place. How do you adjust midstream when you're in your performance, when things don't go perfect? Maybe there's a technical difficulty. Maybe there's something else that goes on. You get the drift. How do you adjust? Because now what you thought about before the speech, you thought about it. You were motivated. You ran on stage. You were ready to go. You were fired up. But now you're in it. And the proverbial shit hits the fan. How do you handle it then?
What I do is I look at, or I try to find someone that I can tell is really enjoying it, and then I tune everybody else out. and I focus on that individual and act like I'm talking to them one-on-one. And what happens at that moment, right, Craig? I then get a sense of, okay, now I know someone's liking it, so keep doing what they're liking, and hopefully people around them will start to feel the same way. And that's how I dig in. And also what I do, right, Craig, if I'm struggling, I will tap into more stories. Stories are the art of performing and what we do as speakers. So if you're ever struggling as a speaker, and I've done it in the past too, where you have to dig into more stories, the stories will carry you through to the finish line and beyond. But you have to be honest with yourself and say, I need to do a better job at this to get things moving the way and where you want them to move.
That's what I do too in terms of focusing on one person. And when you focus on one person, you really, because at the end of the day, the people need to attach to the concepts that you speak about that apply to them.
Yep.
Not everything you talk about is going to apply to everybody the same way.
Nope.
And a lot of things we talk about is not going to hit with everybody in there.
Correct.
But if you can be genuine, inspirational, motivational, impactful, relevant, all those things, for one person, we already know we're all wired the same. Other people are gonna tap in too.
Uh-huh.
Right? One of the things that I talk about is creating a performance bubble. So when you create a performance bubble before you step on stage, everything that's for you is in it, in your headspace. Everything that's not, fears, doubts, what happened the last time, expectations, distractions, noise, other things you got to worry about, catching a flight afterwards, whatever it might be, that doesn't get to come in. And then I've got this system where, because I'm human, I'm gonna have my pocket voice is gonna say something to me in the middle of speech, like, "Hey man, maybe you need to be more funny. Maybe you need to be more this. Maybe less of this." I just send it out. I regulate my mental state because I know it's coming. It's no different than competing in sports. You're in the middle of a play, you're in between play, you have a self-deprecating thought. Like, hey, maybe he's just better than me. He just whipped your ass for a sack. It would be very normal to go, well, maybe he's better. No. We ain't worried about him. Do your job. I'm going to focus on doing my job. Quarterbacks get paid too. So if you get beat, he's not supposed to stand there like a statue, but you got to do your job. So that's one of the things that I do to answer the same question I asked you.
I love it.
So, okay, let's talk about leadership. What's leadership mean to you?
Leadership is serving a cause that is greater than yourself. Think of people like Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., Mother Teresa, Gandhi, Nelson Mandela, individuals that served people and served a cause greater than themselves.
Okay, let's pretend. Let's make this very practical. I love that. And it's so true. So true. But let's pretend like you're in the 8th grade, you're a sophomore in high school, and you're the point guard or you're the quarterback of your team, and the coach is telling you, dude, I need you to be a leader. How does that show up for them in those situations?
It's doing the action. It's not trying to get others to do things. You get others to do things by the actions you do. Actions speak louder than words. Don't talk about it. Be about it. I can tell my clients, you hire me, I'm not just telling you how to speak because I read it in the book or I've gone to a John Maxwell event or I've gone to a Tony Robbins seminar. No. I'm teaching you how to speak because I've done it and I'm doing it. Same thing with podcasting, business coaching, consulting, getting sponsors for your podcast, you name it. I've done it. If I'm coaching people in it, I've done it and or I am doing it. And that's where people need to say, wow, this is a guy I can work with and I can be around.
I'm taking notes, man. Okay. Let's go back to speaking. What's one of the biggest mistakes speakers make?
Is speaking about something and it doesn't resonate with the topic you were hired for. That's what I did for NetApp. My first Fortune 500 job I did, I thought I crushed it. I found out from Dave and Suki that hired me that I didn't do a good job. I had great energy, great passion, wrong subject matter. As a speaker, you need to keep your stories and keep what you're speaking about into alignment with the topic you were hired for. If you don't do that, you're going to be seen as a speaker who cannot stay on task. And a speaker that can't stay on task is going to be a very non-book speaker.
So how many different speeches do you have, or do you try to have a pretty narrow audience?
I can do many: leadership, culture enhancement, diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging, mindset, believing in yourself, success, how to connect with people. Authenticity creates victory, because all I do is I wrap my life story, but I focus my storytelling around stories that fit that topic, and people absolutely love it, which is why we are getting booked a lot, because we've learned how to take the story and the action steps and align them with the theme of our clients' events.
Okay, I'm going to give you a chance to practice and demonstrate. Let's talk about authenticity. What story would you share in your life that shows authenticity and that can make an impact on your audience?
So, starting my podcast, the second podcast, Get Authentic with Marques Ogden, I really didn't want to do it. I was with another podcaster. We had the Levin Market Show, did pretty well, rose in the global rankings, but we had some disagreements. So we parted ways. My good friend, longtime NFL quarterback, Gus Farrar, it took him 4 times for him to get me to say yes to starting another podcast. Authentically, I only did it because Gus is such a good individual. I said, well, if Gus is asking this many times, I'm going to do it because Gus is such a great guy. Best thing I ever did, because what I learned is authenticity is being who you are in the moment, knowing that the moment's going to change. And because of that, I wasn't the same person I was with Lev. I was happy. I could do my own show. I could get my own guests. I could control the interview, what to ask, what not to ask, all these things. And then I started to love it again. And authentically, went after amazing people who were going to share amazing stories. And once that kicked in, bam, the show took off like a rocket ship. So again, authentically, I did not want to do my second show. But Gus, on the 4th time I said yes, and authentically, best thing I ever done. And Gus Farrar knows this. Gus is the only person. He can call me, he can text me, whatever. Whatever Gus needs from me, it doesn't matter what it is. I'll get it done like that. It doesn't matter what it is. Because without Gus Farrar, I can tell you right now, Craig, where I'm at, my home, my lifestyle, what we're building, there's no freaking way. I love speaking. It's amazing, but it's not as consistent, right? I'm not Tony Robbins yet or Eric Thomas, these guys. I don't have the consistency like that. The podcast has brought us in speaking jobs, coaching opportunities, sponsorships, larger brand. Without it, authentically, our brand is way further down in this game of what we do in this industry. So without Gus, my life is completely different.
Okay, so I recruited Gus when he was at Tulsa many, many moons ago. And he was ahead of Trent Green, and I think he got that concussion hitting his head against the wall.
He did.
And get Trent the opportunity, open the door for Trent to be marketable, to even come to the Rams before he went to the Chiefs. But yeah, Gus is a good guy. I think he lives up in Denver.
No, he lives in Pittsburgh.
Oh, he's in Pittsburgh. Okay.
Yep, it's where he's from.
What's Gus doing now?
Gus is with Alumni Media, which helps to bring retired athletes together to do podcasts or networking or marketing or events. And Gus is just the best of the best.
That's super dope. Super dope. Okay. Let's do a different story. What story would you wrap around the concept of helping helping my employees be their best. I just want them to step into their worth. God creates everybody with lots of gifts and talents. I just want you to exercise what you got.
When I told my external manager, Jaslyn, who started when she was 19, she's now 21. I am promoting you to my external manager, my project manager, because you've done great things for us the last 2 years, and your track record speaks for itself. I want you to help run and lead Danny and Abby to build up our marketing and our sales structure and process and procedures, handle media intakes and see if it's a good fit for us, handle scheduling, run our podcast to a well-oiled machine, make sure we have good systems in place for our tools and AI and all the types of different softwares we use. And Jaslyn now is our full-time external and project manager. She started out as a part-time virtual assistant, and now she is the second, she's like the top person in our organization. It's Dawn, Jaslyn, George. And Jaslyn is 21 years old, and she came as a part-time virtual assistant. And over the years, grew into a great role in the company. And I trust her now to do almost anything and everything business related because she has built that trust. And we call that embracing dynamic subordination. Get your ego out of the way and let people that are smarter and more capable take the lead, and you support them in them driving the bus.
I like it. Okay, Marques, you're full of knowledge, man. You got a lot of knowledge. Okay, so you have any kids?
I have a 20-year-old stepdaughter, and I divorced her mom, not her, and I have a 10-year-old daughter.
Gotcha. Either of your girls played sports or play sports?
Yep. Farrah, not Ava. Love her to death, but not Ava. My oldest. My youngest, Farrah, basketball, volleyball, softball. Yeah, she loves, swim. She loves sports. Yes.
Okay. So she's 10. Okay. So 10 years old is when youth coaches want to treat them like pros and make sure they focus just on one sport for 12 months and get burnt out before they're 14. How do you, as a dad who played in the league, who's got brother and other people I'm sure that have played, how do you protect your daughter and also support her so that she can maybe, if she so chooses, have an opportunity to play college sports?
Do just like our dad did with us. Whatever she wants to play, support her, take her to practices, cheer her on, go to games. I am a super involved dad. And we got that from our father. Our father never pressured us to play sports, any of that. So I take exactly the same way our father raised us, and I raised my daughter the exact same way. Whatever she wants to play, if it's for fun, travel, competitive, not so competitive, doesn't matter. If she's great at it, awesome. She's not, if she wants to play, that's great too. And just support her in every way possible. And because of that, she enjoys everything she plays, and she's always excited to have her dad be there to watch her play in her game.
That's awesome. This might be the last question I got for you, boss. I want to reconnect your NFL experience with your journey today. What are you so thankful for that happened in the league that people on the outside, maybe even you and that version of you back then didn't like it, but it was something that was good for you because of how it shows up now or how you show up now?
I'm thankful that I ended up getting released, traded, sent off to Baltimore from Jacksonville because I asked for it. And it was something that really now in my life realized that I was the one that caused all this to happen. And without that accountability and that ownership, where I'm at as a speaker today, hitting the adversity, the obstacle. I mean, we know this was one of the craziest elections I've ever seen. People weren't spending money. They weren't doing anything. Now they're going to probably spend money again, thank God. But nobody was doing anything. right? So people weren't hiring speakers, you name it. So it was about getting through adversity. And because of how I did such a poor job handling the situation in Jacksonville and being sent out there, sent off to Baltimore, that taught me and teaches me still to this day how to handle adversity. If I don't get hired for a job, that's okay. Next job. I don't get that contract, that's okay. Keep pushing. And that's how I live my life now. But without that lesson learned, that hard lesson learned, right, Craig? I would not be built or tough to get through to that obstacles, challenges today the way I do.
Absolutely. Marques, there might be somebody listening that wants to check you out. There'll be some information in the show notes, but where can people find you?
They can go to our app. We have the Marques Ogden app, MarquesOgden, and you can go right to your app store, download it. It's completely free. Check us out, connect with us, or go to our website, www.marquesogden.com, or shoot me an email, marcus@marquesogden.com.
Amen. And if they want to buy a book,
Yeah, they can buy right on our website or go to Amazon and type in either Sleepless Nights, the NFL, a business and a family, or they can go in and type in the Success Cycle, and it pops right up. You can get either book on Amazon and or Audible.
okay, I can't let you go here now. What's the success cycle?
3 keys to success: ambition, drive, hard work. Be ambitious to know what you have a purpose in life. Drive, be inspired over motivated. Hard work, focus on yourself and not the competition.
I like it. Well, I want to thank you for being on Pro Mindset today. I want to thank everybody for listening to our podcast today. Look forward to seeing you guys next week. Everybody go out and have an awesome day.
Hey, it's Craig Doman, the host of Pro Mindset Podcast. I want to thank you for listening or watching today's show. And you can catch us every week on the normal social media platforms like YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and all the listening podcast platforms. I hope you enjoyed today's show. And more importantly, I hope you gained a pro mindset insight. Please be sure to rate and review Pro Mindset Podcast. And I look forward to catching up with you on our next show.